Two experienced divers stared at a glowing yellow jellyfish, 130 feet underwater, a color that shouldn't exist at that depth. When they checked the GoPro footage that night, the camera showed nothing but empty rusted metal. If shared hallucinations that shouldn't be possible are your thing, subscribe now. This series only gets stranger. Diving since college, late 30s now, roughly 80 log dives. His buddy Ryan, about the same. Not professionals, but comfortable at depth, comfortable enough in hindsight for this to happen at all. A trip to Rotan, Honduras, a cargo wreck at around 10 feet. A solid advanced dive, good structure, decent marine life. Small local operation, 6 divers total on the boat. Standard briefing from the dive master. Stay above 100 feet. The wreck sits on a slope with the stern dropping deeper. Don't penetrate the structure. 25 minutes max bottom time. They'd heard it all before. Attention wandered. The descent was worth it. A big rusted hull. Plenty of structure. They swam along the port side toward the stern, which angled down the slope into deeper water. His computer read 105 feet, right at the limit. He knew the limits were conservative. Confidence, maybe overconfidence at that age. Diving with someone as daring as Ryan amplified it. The lower section of the deck caught his eye. A large opening where a cargo hatch had rusted through, deck plating visible below. Interesting enough that Ryan had already started descending without a glance back. He followed. When am I going to get this chance again? Probably never. They dropped to 23, then a little further, pushing it, and he knew it. But the wreck was compelling, and Ryan was already committed. Ryan stopped abruptly, pointed at something on the deck, just inside the hatch. He swam over and looked down. It took a few seconds to process. Something sitting on the rusted plating. His first instinct, jellyfish, but wrong. Bright yellow, not dull, not brownish, fluorescent, impossible at that depth. Below 100 feet, water filters out warm light entirely. Everything reads blue and green. At 130 feet, a red marble held in front of your face looks gray. This thing looked like a light source. About the size of a basketball, slightly flattened, textured with folds like the surface of a brain, swaying gently, not pulsating the way a jellyfish normally would, just sitting there. He didn't feel scared. If anything, an uncontrollable, almost childish urge to laugh, physically suppressed. He couldn't look away. They hovered over it together. He describes the feeling as completely locked in, but also zoned out, losing track of where he was, what he was doing. Ryan reported the exact same sensation afterward. At one point, he watched Ryan reach a hand toward it, pull back before contact. He barely registered it happening. Then his dive computer started screaming. 40 feet, nearly 30 minutes at depth. Air at 600 psi. Emergency territory. Ascent should start at 700. Ryan's was worse. He looked like he'd just woken up, exactly how it felt from the inside. The next 10 minutes are blurry. A rushed descent, not enough air for proper safety stops, doing what they could with what remained. The dive master was furious, justifiably, pounding headache for hours after. Ryan threw up twice before they even reached shore. He tipped the dive master everything he had in cash, out of sheer guilt. That night, mostly recovered, they lounged in the hotel, talking through what they'd seen, trying to identify some fluorescent species, anything that explained it. Then Ryan remembered the GoPro. He'd recorded the entire dive. They watched the footage together. He kept waiting for the yellow glow to flood the screen. It never did. 8.5 minutes of footage showed both of them hovering over a completely bare section of rusted deck plating. No jellyfish, nothing at all, just 2 divers circling an empty patch of metal. The obvious explanation, nitrogen narcosis. At 130 feet on air, entirely plausible. Impaired judgment, euphoria, fixation, distorted time sense. Fits almost perfectly. Except for one detail neither of them can explain. They saw the exact same thing. Underwater they never discussed it, couldn't, but describing it separately afterward, everything matched. Color, size, texture, the way it sat on the deck. Ryan described the same ridged, brain-like folds independently. Narcosis doesn't work that way. It's an individual response. 2 divers at identical depth, identical exposure can experience completely different symptoms. A documented identical shared visual hallucination with matching physical detail isn't a recognized feature of narcosis at all. He researched obsessively for weeks afterward, found nothing conclusive. nothing on record explains a shared hallucination this precise. He and Ryan kept diving together for a few more years before losing touch. He still dives occasionally. The part that stays with him isn't what they saw. He can live with not knowing that. It's that two separate minds at the same depth produce the identical impossible thing, matching detail for detail, with nothing on camera to prove either of them right. Some things don't need to be real to convince two people at once that they were, and there's no explanation on record for how that's supposed to work.